You know, they told young women, don't be a stumbling block, but they never told her how to become a passionate wife. She was told to guard her virginity, but never how to open her body to her husband in freedom. It's true. They taught her shame, not sacredness, silence, not strength, obedience, but not an orgasm. And that's how the church failed her. Let's get this real about what the church did to women. They taught her keep your legs closed, don't dress like a harlot, don't tempt boys. If he falls into lust, it's because you were immodest. They taught her how to cover up her curves, but not how to open up her spirit in covenant. They train her how to say no, but never when to say yes. They train her how to avoid attention from men, but never how to respond to a masculine pursuit inside marriage. So now you've got wives who are too ashamed to enjoy sex, Christian girls who waited but still feel dirty, a generation of women who are either sexually frozen or sexually reckless because no one gave them a framework for holy femininity. The feminine body was designed by God to invite, arouse, and respond to a masculine presence. That's not sinful. That's not evil. That's divine architecture. But purity culture says hide it, suppress it, cover it, don't talk about it. So guess what happened? The world came offering sexual empowerment. She grabbed it because the church gave her shame, but the feminism gave her confidence, even if it was counterfeit. The world is happy to disciple your daughters in sexual boldness when the church refuses to disciple them in sexual holiness. Here's was the formula. Don't date, don't have sex, stay modest, get married, and then magically be a porn star wife on your wedding night. That's a fantasy. Because what happens when that virgin bride gets married? Well, she's insecure, self-conscious, emotionally guarded, sexually hesitant, spiritually confused, and physically uncomfortable with receiving affection. You can't raise a woman to fear her own body, then expect her to use it freely in marriage. And the Bible doesn't shame feminine sexuality, it elevates it. I mean, let's talk about the Bible, not church tradition, but the Bible, right? Songs of Solomon, you know, the woman speaks first. She wants her man. She tells him, what to do. She enjoys his body. She takes the initiative, right? In Genesis 2:25, we see that they were naked and ashamed, not guilty, not no anxiety, there's no guilt, there's no shame. They were naked and unashamed. 1 Corinthians 7:4, the wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. That's covenantal trust and submission. That's not oppression. God never told women to be ashamed of their pleasure. God designed her body to be a receiver of pleasure and a responder to pursuit. That's not Jezebel. That's Eden. A man's dominance is fulfilled in his pursuit. A woman's glory is fulfilled in her response. But the church trained her to hide both. You know, because women weren't trained how to mature sexually in a holy way, we now see wives who don't initiate, wives who fake pleasure just to get it over with, wives who feel obligated, not desired, and women who abandon their husbands because they feel unseen or unfulfilled, even though they were never taught what true fulfillment means. They were told to be pure, be good, be obedient, but they were never told how to be sensual, eager, responsive, unashamed. So now Instagram trains her, porn influences her, culture disciples her. because the pulpit was silent. A woman can't step into her sexual power until she's under a masculine covering. That doesn't mean he's controlling her. It means leading her, calling her out of shame, affirming her beauty, building safety with strength, training her to respond in covenant, not perform out of fear. When a woman is with a man who has a dominant masculine presence, she's relaxed, she melts, she softens, she surrenders. You don't demand submission, you inspire it. Presence over performance. When a woman feels your masculine gravity, she orbits around it freely. So here's what the church needs to start saying from the pulpit: your desire for sex is not sinful, it's sacred. Your body was designed to give and receive pleasure in covenant. Your husband wants you eager, not ashamed. Modesty in public doesn't mean repression in private. You're not a good Christian wife just because you lie there quietly and let him finish. Be unashamed, be sexual, be passionate with your man. Because listen, you can't raise a Proverb 31 woman by treating them like they're a Proverb 7 whore every time she wears lip gloss. You got to start preaching the full spectrum of femininity, not a fear based femininity. Let me bring it home. In the same way that a man leads with confidence in his home, he must also lead with confidence in the bedroom. And a woman must respond to his presence there, not out of guilt, but because her soul is free to worship through pleasure. Sex is not just physical, it's spiritual, it's emotional, it's prophetic, it's covenantal. And when a woman is sexually awakened by her man in marriage, it glorifies God. The holy bedroom is where the masculine and feminine meet, not as equals, but as counterparts in order. One leads, one responds, and both become one flesh in worship. So, to every woman who was taught to be silent, to hide, to never speak about her needs, to be ashamed of her curves, to fear her own pleasure, let me tell you this: you were lied to. Sex is not dirty, your body is not shameful, desire is not evil, and pleasure is not forbidden. God gave you a womb, God gave you sensitivity, God gave you a responsive, glorious, tender, fiery sexual nature. Don't give that away to the world. Don't suppress it into shame, but give it to your husband in full, holy surrender. Let him unlock it. Let him lead you into the kind of pleasure that the church was too afraid to preach about. Because in the hands of a righteous man, your sexual surrender becomes your strength, not your shame.